Whoa, what's going on, everyone, live on YouTube? Today, I'm incredibly excited because not only am I joined by Steve Ricken, whom a lot of you know, but I'm joined by Jen Fritz, somebody who many of you may not know. Jen is going to be a speaker at the Books and Beyond Resellers Conference, October 10th through 12th in Las Vegas, Nevada. She's a former research scientist. She left her job in 2019. Right now, she's homeschooling her kids and also is an eBay to Amazon flipper. Does a little bit of books as well, but I'm just extremely excited for her to be a speaker. And with that said, what's going on, Jen?
Not much. I'm sitting here in my bookstore that hopefully will be opening soon.
Okay, cool. And what's up, Steve?
Hey, I'm excited for Jen's bookstore. I know she told me about that because I know you've been doing eBay to Amazon, but also you've got this bookstore, and I think you're doing it with your husband as well. Last time we talked, I know you said that I think your husband had resigned from his job, and you guys were going all in with books. Is that still the case?
That is the case, and we've been able to do that thanks to eBay to Amazon. It's been kind of our backup as we make this transition from just being full-time entrepreneurs. So
Yeah. So why don't you walk us through a little bit about your origin story? Because again, a lot of people may not know who you are, but again, I think there's a ton of value that you're going to add at the conference. There's a ton of value to add even here. So if you could kind of give us, when did you start, I guess, reselling, and then how did you eventually end up with eBay to Amazon?
Okay, sure. Yeah, my husband and I have always been really into books. We had a huge book collection, and I think in 2021, I'd been a stay-at-home mom for 2 years at that point. I think our fifth kid was on the way.
Wow.
And we decided we needed to downsize our book collection. And then I was like, we should try to make some money off of this. So I started researching the best ways to sell books. I came across Steve's content for reselling books on Amazon. And I just took that path. And, after about 6 months, that really started picking up. I started thrifting and I just really enjoyed it because I love books. So it was really fun for me. But as I'm like being pregnant, having more children, we've had 2 children since then. Thrifting for books was becoming kind of difficult, and he was coming out with his courses on eBay to Amazon. So I signed up for those and learned how to do that, which was much more manageable while having babies and being pregnant because you can do it all from home. You don't have to leave the house. And it's become such a easy way to have a couple extra $1,000 a month for my family, and I've just been doing it ever since. As I've gotten more time, I got back into thrifting books just because I like it. So when I have free time, I do that. But my main income from Amazon is from eBay to Amazon flips.
So did you start that back when I first put that course out in like 2022, or was it?
Yeah.
Wow. So you've been doing it for about going on 3 years now, eBay to Amazon?
Yep.
That's awesome. And revenue wise, I think you said last year you hit like 60,000, and you said this year your goal was, your goal this year you said was to do what? To double that or something?
I'm on track to double that, yeah.
Okay. So we can say that you're definitely going to be a 6-figure eBay to Amazon.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that, but I think maybe I will be by the end of the year.
We're gonna have to change the graphic for the Books and Beyond with Jen, 6-figure flipper.
Well, I haven't hit it yet, so I'm not, but we'll see. Hopefully by the end of the year. December is usually pretty good. So
yeah, but you are on track to do it, and we can project these things pretty easily. Especially, I mean, at this point in the year, what do you know what your revenue is at this point in the year? It doesn't have to be exact, but just like a rough ballpark.
I think I'm at 77,000.
Okay, yeah. There's no way you're not going to get there, especially with Q4, because I'm sure Steve, right? eBay to Amazon for Q4 is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, depending on the items, right? And last time I talked to you, Jen, I know you were focused heavy on Lego and electronics. So is that still, because you're a book lover? So I was thinking you're flipping books from eBay to Amazon, but I don't know if you're doing books. You told me that you're heavy into Lego and electronics, which for Q4, crazy sales. So what are you flipping like in your business?
I keep it pretty simple. I have a few things that I like to do, a few brands, and I really like Legos because we're a Lego family. I feel like it's low risk. If anything, if I get returns, I just give them to my children, or they're really easy to sell back on eBay too. If Legos get returned, I don't get a lot of returns with Legos, so that's another plus. You know, there are issues with Lego every now and then, but so far I've been doing well with that. And then I do have a few electronic brands that I like to flip. Maybe I'll save those for the
Please do.
But, you know, the random components that I don't even know what they're for. Just simple stuff, small stuff, little boxes that are easy to store and ship and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I think Lego is so interesting because of the fact that when you think of it, it's just so wildly popular. There's just so much demand for it. It's almost like it feels like it's almost like an asset class. Like the downside risk of buying Lego, just like even if it's used Lego, is like so low because you could like just walk into a store and there are stores that will just pay you by the pound for Lego. It's kind of crazy. Like it almost is
yeah,
like it's a currency. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy.
it is. And we've even started a little bit of Lego investing. We're not going real deep into that, but we have a few sets we're going to hold on to for a while. But it is really fun. And my kids think I'm cool when I'm like prepping my shipments and I've got a big box of Legos and they like to look through them. So it's a lot of fun. So I'm planning to share a lot of tips on that and how to source Legos and everything, because there are some tricks to it, some things to look out for.
So let me ask you a couple of questions, Jen. Number one, how are you sourcing your deals? How are you finding your deals? And number two, are you merchant fulfilling or are you an FBA seller?
I only do FBA, and I use Replen Catcher. I've been on board with Replen Catchers since you released it. So, I mean, I don't know what I would do without that or without the E2A master sheet, because honestly, before you released the E2A master sheet, I was like, I don't know if I can do this, keeping track of all the shipments, and it was just feeling overwhelming and tedious. So when that came out, that was like when I really went all in on eBay to Amazon.
I was selling about 1,000 items from eBay to Amazon per month back in, I think it was 2022, before I built the E2A master sheet. So I had 1,000 items come into my house with no real tracking system. And I know you don't really do eBay to Amazon anymore, Joji. You used to back in the day. You still got flip mine videos and everything back in the catalog. But the thing that's crazy about eBay is like, you never know if the eBay seller is going to ship it to you. Are they going to send you something different? Is it going to be damaged? So like, imagine having like hundreds of items coming to your house and you don't even know how to reconcile it or tracking numbers. So yeah, I'm glad you're on board with that. And let me ask you, are you with the Replen Catcher, are you using like the live stream and just sourcing deals that kind of hit, based on your filters? Or are you really focused on replens? Because with Lego, there's a lot of killer replens. I mean, I've got a ton of them. You and I are probably competing on the same ASINs. I could almost guarantee it. So I'm curious how you source.
I don't use the live stream too much. I do occasionally though, like if there's nothing popping up on my own replen list, I'll go and then I'll actually add stuff to my replen list from the live stream. And that has helped me build my list. But I still do like storefront stalking of other sellers to find replens, not necessarily for Lego, but for electronics. I do that.
Let's go ahead and shout out some people in the chat, if that's okay. So we got Woodchuck in the house. We also have Kevin saying good afternoon from Lakeland, Florida. So yeah, if you're here in the chat, let us know where you're coming from, just so we have an idea of where you're at. We've got a really good question from Beach Myrtle. Good morning from San Diego. I just opened my Amazon FBA seller account. I'm gated almost 90% of the 600 books I have now. Is that normal? How can I get ungated without purchasing 15 books from each vendor? You guys have any tips on that? It's a good question.
It's normal. I mean, Joji, you know the deal with this. I mean, when you have a new Amazon account now, Amazon, they do not trust you. And it's gotten worse over the years. They used to trust you a lot more. Now it's like, You know, you shout out Steve Rakin or Jen or Joji, they don't care. Bezos, they don't care that you know Jen. You know, they're like, we don't trust you. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, as a new seller, you're going to be able to sell 10 or 15 books out of the 100. But, you know, I've heard you mention this before, Joji, just sell them, sell what you can. And then what is Amazon going to do as you sell more and more books, Joji?
Basically, all they're looking for is to make sure that if you're doing FBM, you're shipping them on time, customers are happy. And if you're doing FBA, that the product or the book or whatever the thing is that the customer gets, that it is what you described it as. So in other words, they're just essentially looking to make sure that you're not like standing out from the average type of seller. And so if everything's good, you know, the products are getting shipped to them, customers are being happy. There isn't like some crazy return rate. They're like slowly going to help you become ungated. So all it is that right now the hardest time is the beginning, but if we can get over that hump, it should be fine.
I feel like, Joji, sorry to interrupt. I feel like a lot of people think they're restricted in more items than they actually are because it says requires approval. And I just did a coaching call with a girl the other day who has a brand new account, and she thought she was restricted on all these items that said requires approval. When you click in and click, you pretty much ask permission to sell it. They just auto approve you on a lot of them. So
a lot of them. Yep. Sounds good. And does that happen with eBay to Amazon products, or like Jen, are you pretty much ungated in everything?
So I've only probably since I started on Amazon purposefully got ungated in maybe 5 brands that I actually bought the required quantity for. And yes, I have become ungated. Even recently, I've become ungated in some of the bigger textbook publishers that I was previously gated in. But here was a big surprise for me. I couldn't believe it. At the end of last year, I was suddenly ungated in Sony, which I never would have thought that would have happened. But that's huge because there's a lot of Sony products out there, and that's a great brand to flip. So you just keep trying and stick with it, and you will just start to get ungated in a lot of things.
Yeah. I've noticed that with volume, you tend to just get automatically ungated and stuff, especially like volume with also not having any issues, right? Those two things together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To answer your question, Joji, it happens with a ton of other categories outside of books, especially DVDs. So one thing that I do with the replaying catcher is you can actually put a filter on to see all the products you're restricted on. And we created a button that says like manually ungate. So I'll just go through like thousands of items. And I mean, I got auto ungated in like literally thousands of items, even after selling over 10 plus years. So yeah, take the time to do it. It's time consuming, but you'll have an advantage over everybody else.
Yeah. And a good way to think about it too is like, if you just try to get automatically engaged and everything, like you don't know if that's going to be a perk in the future, right? So might as well take advantage of it now, like we said, right? Because who knows if a year from now you can still just automatically get ungated in a lot of these products. But, you know, to answer your question, Beach Myrtle, you're really new, which is exciting and awesome, but just keep going. Sell what you can sell. Anything that has value that you're restricted in, hold on to it, because very, very likely you'll be able to sell that in the future. And wouldn't it be sweet that once you get ungated, you have a mountain of books or a mountain of other products that you can just send right in and make even more money with? So pretty cool there. We also have the real Moonrock. Thoughts and prayers to all the Canadian sellers today. I'm not sure what that refers to. Should I know what that refers to?
I don't know. I think Amazon said that they're shutting down all the Canadian accounts. No, I'm just kidding.
We have Mallory. Good morning from Louisiana. Just started Amazon FBA and a little bit on eBay. Awesome. So if you're selling on Amazon, eBay, why not put them together, right? Buy on eBay, sell on Amazon, right? That's what Jen's doing.
Also, there's this crazy thing too. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it. You can literally buy books with this website called Book Mine on Amazon and then flip it on Amazon.
Yeah, there we go.
You have the hat on.
I have the hat on. Yes. So, yeah, just excited for everyone to be here. So let's see. The Moonrock says today's shipping changes to the U.S. is a gut punch. How are Canadians to compete with the massive market? I got you. So I'm assuming that you mean that if you're a Canadian seller, you sell a lot of your books in the U.S. and then now maybe the cross border or the new shipping changes. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know what your thoughts are on this, Jen, but I don't ever think fees are going down, right? I think over time fees are probably only going to go up. So what are your thoughts on that when the business model gets harder and fees just go up? What are your thoughts on like how you manage that?
I'm very selective. I don't buy anything unless I'm getting a 60% ROI on that. And I'm very disciplined about that. And once I became disciplined about that, I felt like, you know, everything I'm sending in, I should do okay on. It makes up for. And if you just set your mind to do that, you'll find it if you're disciplined about it.
Yep.
And even the same with books that I send into Amazon, I just have my limits. Like I want to make a certain amount of money if I'm going to spend my time on it, and to account for risk. So yeah, you just have to look at your business model and try to adapt it to the changes. And usually there is a way. There's usually a way that you can do it. Uh-oh.
You got me pumped up, Jen, because I'll tell you, when I started eBay to Amazon, when I first started, I was at a 30% ROI. And then in 2022, I think went to a 35 and then 45. And now I'm at minimum 60 as well. Like I don't want to touch a product. And the reality is the magic is in the business model. Like you said, that's what I love about Amazon to Amazon flips or eBay to Amazon flips, or really any form of online arbitrage, is you're not just subject to what the thrift store has. Like how many times, Jen, do you remember going into the thrift store back in the day? And it's like, you spent your time, you spent your money, your gas money, and you're there and you're like, it's $3 profit. I'll take it. When you know, yeah, and you know, at the end of the day, like you shouldn't be buying those things because your time is worth more than $15 an hour. But I mean, with eBay to Amazon, you can make tons of best offers. With Amazon to Amazon, like if you ever check out, you guys, if you're looking to flip books from Amazon to Amazon Bookmine, there's hundreds of books every single hour that are coming. So like, who cares if you make 30% on one? Just skip it. Go get the 70% one. But that's the power of online arbitrage. Obviously, I'm biased because I do it and I love it. But I mean, you guys got to agree with me. Like there's no excuse. Like if the fees go up, just increase your margin.
Yeah. And it really is. And I want to also just say that this person might be, I don't know, doing thrifting or might be doing pickups in the local community. And so it is harder. And like Steve made a great point, right, Jen, is that like, when it comes to online arbitrage, there's a sea of opportunity because there's just like an unlimited sort of avenue to products, right? Versus that's not true. Like when you live in a certain location and you're like, I'm only driving in a 30-mile radius, like you're heavily limited to what you can actually buy. But at the end of the day, like Jen said, you have to adapt, and it's adapt or die, and it's kind of the way that it is. But yeah, I would say trying to just find better books, that are going to be okay with those margins is going to be what you have to try to do. But
I've got a question for Jen, because I know there's a lot of people who are only thrifting, who are only doing library sales, garage sales, because I mean, the risk is much lower. Let's be honest. When you go to thrift stores, you're only spending $1 or $2. You do eBay to Amazon, Amazon to Amazon. I mean, I'm spending $30,000 a month. I don't know what you're spending, Joji, but it's thousands, right? We're all spending thousands of dollars. Whereas with thrift stores, you could spend $100 for the month and you make $1,000. So what advice would you have for folks, Jen, who are kind of scared to take that leap of faith? Because that's how you started with thrifting and whatnot. How did you get over that mental hurdle of not having 800% returns on your thrifting flips to like now going to 60% ROI, spending $40 to flip it for 90?
You just have to try and then you just learn. I mean, I had the same. Everybody, I think, does this when they first start with Amazon. They end up having a bunch of stuff returned to them because it doesn't sell. They don't, it just sits there. The price tanks. And I had to go through that process just like everybody else. And then I figured out, what to sell, what I want to sell, how to make money. But you have to go through those growing pains. And then also like, do what you like, that's my philosophy. That's why my category of items is pretty narrow, because it's like, I just want to do what I like. I want to handle what I like. And if you like it, you will get good at it, I think. So
I agree.
Make sure you're having fun.
If it's a hobby, right, it's something that you enjoy doing anyways, it's just so much easier to do the work. But is the income you make from eBay to Amazon, is this like supplemental income? Like, does your family technically need it, or is it kind of like you're doing a hobby that's fun and making money at the same time?
It started that way, but then my husband was unemployed for 6 months, I believe, in 2022 or 2023, and we would have been in trouble if I didn't have that going on. I mean, it was difficult. And then now, as we're making the transition into full-time business owners, we are, obviously my husband he quit his job. We have no other income at this time until the store is up and running. So yeah, I've never fully relied on it, just for some brief transition periods.
Gotcha. And I want to actually share my screen if that's okay, because a lot of people have just recently joined, and just wanted to let you know again that Jen is actually going to be a speaker at the Books and Beyond conference. So a lot of people haven't heard of the Books and Beyond conference, but this is actually our second year doing it. Avery, Romer, Victor Gagos, myself, and Steve Rakin, we put this on last year. It was really an awesome time. This is like actual footage from one of the after parties. There's a bunch of pictures here, testimonials from people who went last year, our sponsors, of course, and just a ton of pictures of, these are the people who came last year. So it was just an awesome time focused around both books and also eBay to Amazon. That's why we call it Books and Beyond, the Beyond being like eBay to Amazon. And anyways, if you click on speakers, you'll notice that somebody here on this page looks awfully familiar to the person who we're live with. So again, if you're kind of just joining in, we're here with Jen Fritz. So Jen was research scientist, left her job in 2019, now does eBay to Amazon, and will hit over 100K this year. Homeschools 6 of her children. Just really an awesome person. So anyways, for anyone who just joined live, that's who this is, if you're wondering who we're with. But another question here. Going back to the Canadian Post. I see. So he says, can the Post has stopped all deliveries to the U.S. on the 29th of August? Canadian sellers will not have to prepay the tariffs and duties for all U.S. buyers and every time. Okay, that is definitely impactful with the tariffs. So what I would say is, and this is me just thinking about, and again, I'm biased with the model I do Amazon to Amazon book flips, and a lot of people don't like to do that. They just like to go thrift stores and library sales and pick up books in the local community. But there are a lot of Canadian sellers who essentially sell in the U.S. marketplace. So they buy the books on the U.S. marketplace, ship them to a prep center. The prep center ships them to an Amazon warehouse, and then the Amazon warehouse ships them to a customer. So that'd be one way to get around tariffs. But again, that's not a model for everyone. But that's what I would do, because that's what I am doing. But anyways. Yeah.
I'm curious, for someone who lives like in Canada or the UK, if they wanted to do that, they would essentially have to set up a form of business in the United States, right? Because they would have to, pay taxes and, create. Do you need an LLC or a business to open an Amazon.com account from another country, or?
No, you don't need an LLC. The most important thing is that, because here's the thing, is that if you have an Amazon account in your country already, you can enable the option to sell on a different marketplace. And then once you enable that option to sell on a different marketplace, you can essentially just like convert over and sell on that marketplace. So it's not like you're taking the items you listed in Canada and then having them shipped to the US marketplace. Like, you have the ability to say, I actually just also want to sell in the US marketplace. I'm going to ship books to prep centers or to Amazon warehouses in the US marketplace and do it that way. The main thing is that you need a US address. So the easiest way to get a US address is to have like a PO box, or you could even use your prep center address as yours if you want to. Interesting.
Yeah, because I don't know if you know this, but Replane Catcher's moving into the UK. We're getting ready to launch in the UK. It's been a massive undertaking, but it's got me thinking, like, what's stopping me? I know the people in the UK might not love this, getting a prep center in the UK. Replane Catcher's now scanning 500,000 products on the UK. So we could essentially flip items from eBay UK to UK if I had a prep center. So I guess I just need a UK account and an address. So
yeah, that's what I would start with. But anyways, I'm sorry to hear that that's what's going on in Canada. That definitely is a bummer, especially for the thrifting model. Jen, have you ever?
Just one thing. So many people will quit in times like this, and if you just figure out how to get through it, then you'll be more successful. There'll be less competition, and if you just stick with it and tough it out.
That's a great segue into this question I have for you. What made you not quit eBay to Amazon? Because, in terms of like the Amazon community, I feel like I'm looked at as like the big bad wolf. Like, I'm doing eBay to Amazon, Section 3s, invoices, and it's like people, I feel like they look at me like this guy is like a lunatic. Like, he is like, Like he is flying down the highway at 150 miles per hour, sticking his head out the sunroof, drinking a bottle of vodka, like selling on Amazon. But it's like, I've been doing this for years. Like I flipped 35,000 products and I have a perfectly healthy account. Yet everybody says it's the craziest thing to do in the whole entire world. You've got to be hearing that too in the community.
Oh, yeah.
How do you mentally get over that? When everyone, I feel like they look at us like we're lunatics.
There have been some rough patches where you see so much chatter. Suddenly everyone in the Facebook group is getting a strike of some sort. But at the same time, the groups also help, because it's like nice to know that you have people there that can help you get through it. If you do have some kind of mark on your account. And my account's been completely clean up to this point. Hopefully it stays that way. But you just have to be aware of the risk. You're always very transparent with people about the risk. And just live with that. Like, you have to accept it and have a backup plan. And, like, we haven't set ourselves up to be 100% reliant on this income. I think somebody could if they wanted to, but then you're going to have to live with you have to accept the consequences that Amazon could shut you down at any time. But I've had no issues, and I've learned as much from the group as I possibly can about products to stay away from. I stay away from those. I don't mess around. I won't sell like anything that has a reputation of being counterfeit or, so, but some people do, and they want to make money fast and they'll play around with those products. Well, that's what's going to happen. You have to live with that. So,
are you flipping new or used products?
New, other than books.
Nice. And that's what you mainly do, Steve, as well, right?
Yeah, I do all new. And
all new, yeah.
Again, not to point fingers at the community, but there's a lot of people in this Amazon space who think they know what they're doing, but they have zero experience with what we're doing, and they think new is so dangerous. With books, yes. I don't like to play the new book game, but I sell every other one of my products new, and I actually think new is less risky than used. But that's another topic. But that's interesting that you're doing new as well, just like me, Jen. You could sell collectible Lego, but that would be crazy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've been tempted to try that, but I don't need to. I'm not gonna mess around with that. But I'm very comfortable with Keepa, so that's a big thing. You need to learn how to read a Keepa chart and look for red flags on that. I would tell anyone, you need to be a part of a group. Find someone like Steve who has resources that can help you learn how to do Keepa charts, people that you can ask questions to. The community has always helped me when I ask for help. So
what was the main way that you did become proficient at Keepa? Because in the beginning you mentioned that you sent a bunch of stuff to Amazon, you got it back because it didn't sell. I think mainly in most cases that's because people don't understand how to value something properly and understand if it's a good deal or not. So
doing E2A is probably what got me good at Keepa. I don't know. I don't even remember when I first started selling books. I probably used it, but now it's like because I've learned Keepa so well from doing E2A, it helps me a lot with books, because I'll list books and people have their books priced all weird, and I know what to price the book at to make sure it sells quickly. Yeah. And honestly, one, I think, strange thing about me that I don't use a repricer.
Oh, you don't? Wow, that's interesting.
I did in the beginning, and I used Reprice It, and I got really sick of it. I've never wanted to pay the money that like Be Cool charges.
Yeah.
And I was using I can't think, NeuroPrice.
Okay.
Which is pretty manual as it is. It wasn't an automated repricer. It just kind of has some in-browser features that help you reprice manually. Well, that recently shut down, which is a whole long story. But so now I'm just manually doing it. I only reprice once a week. And my stuff moves quickly.
Yeah, I bet. It is a ton of work to do that.
It's because I know how to price stuff, because I know how to read Keepa charts. And I'm sure some stuff would sell faster, but I hate price tanking. I hate it. So that's why I only do it once a week.
what percentage of your inventory is books versus like your electronics and Lego? Because I feel like with a lot of the E2A stuff, honestly, I don't feel like you have to reprice it that much because there's like very little competition.
Right.
Whereas with books, there's a lot of times there's a lot more sellers, and the used sellers, they just, like you said, they price weird. It's so, it's even hard, it's way harder to read a Keepa chart used versus new. Like looking at the new buy
Right.
box, it's like Joji, the way they do it, like they're not even looking at the used buy box. They're looking at the lowest overall offer, but like it's weird because like you can still sell it at the used buy box, but you like got to pretend it's not there to like, protect yourself.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point. It is more difficult for used items. I buy products that don't have a lot of competition. That's the key there. So then it's not going to price tank, and that's why I can get away with repricing only once a week. And my E2A stuff still sells pretty quickly. Sometimes I buy really slow selling Lego sets, and those will take a while, but everything else, it sells quickly. I rarely ever have more than 350 items in my inventory, and probably half of that will be books because the books do take longer to sell. But even with thrifting books, I don't thrift books that have a lot of competition if they don't sell quickly. So having that knowledge over the years has just made my inventory moves quickly, and I don't have to have a lot of it. I just buy stuff that doesn't have a lot of competition, and I don't need a repricer.
Yeah, two things stand out to me there. Is one, if you think about new and used, there's always going to be way more used than there is new, right? Because obviously the point of anything being new is that it's supposed to become used. Like you're supposed to use it, right? So as time goes on, there should be more used stuff than new stuff in supply. And then, yeah, I mean, so and the second part being just like, I think most people on Amazon prefer to buy stuff new, not used, right? It's not like most people are like, all right, I have an Amazon Prime subscription, so I can go buy used electronics, right? It's like they want brand new stuff, right? So I think that's why it makes sense. But
yeah, and the E2A stuff, it's typically stuff that's not produced anymore. So there's not a lot of new competition. It's awesome.
And Jen, you said you're doing FBA or FBN. I'm sorry.
FBA. I've never done FBM. I've thought about it, but I have to keep my life simple. So FBA.
So the reason Joji and we brought you on this call, we didn't want to tell you beforehand, but we're going to surprise you. We're going to talk you into using a prep center.
Yeah.
That would probably make my life easier. It's hard to let go of that control though. I love seeing the products before I make, send them in. And my question with that is, like, if I committed to a prep center, do I have to constantly keep them supplied with stuff? Because I just sometimes I usually only source like 1 or 2 weeks out of the month, and then I'll ship the other 2 weeks, and I don't like constantly have stuff coming in.
No, I think that's fine. I mean, honestly, I use Little Owl Prep, which big shout out to Little Owl Prep. They actually, Frank's going to be at the event, right? They sponsored Books and Beyond. So guys, if you're here and you haven't gotten a ticket, I don't know what you're doing, because you can meet the owner, but he usually ships my stuff out like maybe once every 2 weeks or so, because they have a lot of clients. So like, I think it's fine if you just source in bulk. I'm not sure what Joji's thoughts are. Are you using Little Owl Prep or using Virginia
it's
Prep?
actually, I just signed up with them to kind of separate eBay and Amazon orders. So I do a little bit of eBay to Amazon flipping for books specifically, mainly for the replans, right? So I have all my Amazon books go to Shanna at Central Virginia Prep. And then now I have all my eBay purchases go to Frank. And so the idea is just to make inventory management, like tracking, a lot easier. Because like, all right, if it's a problem at Frank's warehouse, okay, it was an eBay problem. If it was a problem at Shanna's warehouse, okay, it was an Amazon problem, kind of a thing like that. But yeah, I would say as long as you're shipping at least once per month, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Right at the end of the day, you're doing it, like if you're doing over 100K in revenue on an annual basis, like you're definitely shipping products in. So there's definitely money to be made off of you using that service. So yeah, you're fine. It's not like you have to ship it, do shipments every 3 days or else they're going to, shut you down. Or it's also not like they're paying you to, they're charging you money to store your items there. I mean, maybe eventually if like 3 months goes by and you've never sent them anything else, they're probably just going to dispose of it. But yeah, I think you're fine.
I know I need to do it. I mean, especially with the bookstore opening, I have no idea how much of my time this is going to take. And I know the prep center seems to be a no-brainer, but
He's gonna
it's
be
hard
there.
to let go of that product quality control. But then now that I think about it, it's like it's rare that I actually get something that I don't send in because there's something wrong with it. Like that rarely ever happens. So
because you can see the pictures of it and everything, right? Another thing to think about is like Steve's using the prep center. He's doing way more volume than you. Not only the way that I think of it, and I try to get people over the hump is like, all right. So again, I'm in the book space, but I go like, okay, so who's going to do a better job inspecting books? You, somebody who sends in 100 books a month, or them who processes 5,000 books a week? Who's going to do a better job of processing or like a better job of conditioning? You know what I mean? But it is hard to like you said, let go of that. But Frank will be there, so have that conversation with him at Books and Beyond.
I definitely will.
Yeah,
I definitely will.
Jen,
and if you're, go for it.
Sorry, Joji. Jen, I wrestled with this for a year and a half. I did. You've been a part of all the programs following me. I wrestled with it for the longest time. All my friends, everybody who was kicking my butt, Joji, Seth, everybody, Josiah, all these guys that they were doing it for a long time, but I was the same exact way as you. And I'm a very conservative person. Like I'm paranoid with like certain things like that. Like it'll keep me up at night. So I definitely relate, but now that I've been with Frank, and I'm not here to sell Frank, it's just who I use. It's been about a year and a half. So I've probably shipped him over 10,000 products. My account's perfectly clean. My return rate hasn't necessarily gone up any more than what it was prior, although my return rate is a little bit higher just because I'm dealing with like electronics and toys and different things like that. So you're never going to have like 3% return rates like with books and DVDs, although I think your return rate might go up a tad bit. But it's all about time. Like I was, I had employees at my house. I had all the boxes coming. I had to discard all the boxes. I had to make sure UPS picked up all the boxes, throw away garbage, like just issue after issue, time. Now it's just like, I have my freedom back. And it costs a little bit more to pay $1.50, $2 an item or whatever, but who cares? Just make a best offer on eBay and get the item for 58 instead of 59, and it just covers it, So we'll be talking at Books and Beyond. But
we'll be talking.
Real. It's just, for anyone I care about, I try to convince them into a prep center.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I'm sure there's other ones that are good out there as well, but Frank, great reputation. Same thing with Shannon Man at Central Virginia Prep if you do books. So I use Central Virginia Prep and now Little Owl. A lot of people use both of those, so they're vetted. But again, that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean you won't. It's going to be 100% flawless. Like there could be issues as well. Also doesn't mean that any other prep center is bad, right? I mean, it's just like in the beginning, I don't know about you, Steve, but I felt like it was very secretive. Like which prep center is the best one, and now it's like.
Yeah.
It seems it's like a lot more out there. Like, okay.
I feel like I was one of the ones who started to break out of it because everybody wanted to I found out my friends wouldn't even tell me about Little Owl Prep. I had to freaking secretly find out somehow. And then I joined their Facebook group and I saw my friends in it. I'm like, okay, you guys, I hate you guys. Like, why didn't you? Everyone was just keeping it a big secret. But it's like when you get someone really good like Shannon with Central Virginia Prep, who's just books, by the way, everyone should know, right? I think it's just books, maybe DVDs. I don't know. The reason I went with Frank is because he does everything, like all the products. But I don't know why everyone's the Amazon community is so weird sometimes. Like we keep things secrets, and it's like everybody knows.
Yeah. Yeah. So Jen, let's see. So last year I don't believe last year you were at Books and Beyond. That's correct.
No,
I don't think you were, right? No. So this will be your first opportunity. I'm really just excited for you to meet everyone because the cool thing is because you're a little bit of a hybrid, right? Even though you're doing mainly eBay to Amazon, you do still a bit of books. And interestingly, you and your husband are opening up a bookstore, which I do want to talk about a little bit later on. But you have this kind of unique hybrid. So you're going to be like the person who's like in between because we're going to have some that's strictly eBay to Amazon, then we're gonna have books, and then you're kind of in the middle. So I think it's gonna be a real interesting time to talk to all the other people there. But let's talk a little bit about the bookstore because it is also books and beyond, right?
Yeah, let's talk about books, baby.
So is that it behind you? So what is
yes.
this store behind you? Okay.
This is the store. We're setting things up right now.
Wow.
This is we got.
Whoa, that's amazing.
Let's go.
It's so funny to me because we're like, yeah, Jen, she's eBay to Amazon flipper. Oh, by the way, she owns a bookstore. It's kind of like
Yeah, I'm in a weird transitionary phase right now, and honestly, we even got the idea just because of all the eBay to Amazon stuff is just taking up so much space at my house, and I was thinking I need to rent like a storage unit or something to work out of, so I don't just have all this stuff everywhere. And then it just kind of led to, why don't we just open a bookstore? Like,
That's crazy.
We love books. My husband and I I've always been into books. Date nights, we always go to bookstores. You know, we both have a lot of knowledge about literature, and I started doing free book pickups. So that's where a lot of our inventory is coming from. But we also are getting wholesale accounts with publishers. So
that's cool.
Yeah, so we are investing a little bit of money into new stock, and we're going to see how that goes, and maybe we'll have a higher percentage of new books, which is interesting because as a Amazon seller, you always see all the new booksellers, and it's like I technically have invoices.
You do. If they're coming right from distributors, you do have invoices, yeah.
And I'm like wondering, is there a whole world to be tapped into on Amazon as a new bookseller?
I mean,
I haven't made it that far, but
I guess the thing for me is always like, it just seems like a lot of the time Amazon just gets such amazing deals, right? Wholesale deals on the new items that like, could you get because like for me, I'm thinking like, okay, maybe you can buy brand new from the publisher for like $17 a piece, but then on Amazon it's like $19. It's like, okay, well, there's no margin there, right? But maybe there is margin to be made. I don't know. It just seems like,
I'm wondering, so this is a little bit of publisher lingo here, but I'm thinking the opportunity maybe would be with back stock, their back titles, which are older titles that are still in print, because there's thousands of titles. And if you find some like obscure titles, maybe that there's not people selling them new, then maybe you could be the one or two people on that listing, and you only need to have a few copies in stock, even because maybe they don't sell that often. But I don't know. I haven't gotten that far. I'm just focusing on the bookstore for now. But yeah, so that's a whole nother world. And yeah, we're doing the free book pickups. We're hoping people will bring books to us. And my plan is to, we're kind of being selective about what will be in the store. It's only 1,300 square feet, so it's going to be curated to our own taste in books and what we think is quality. But there's so much stuff that I think I'll be able to sell on Amazon that people bring in. So we're going to try to have like a whole model going of online, in-store, and, we'll see. There's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
I mean, I recently interviewed Riley Martins, who's also going to be at Books and Beyond. He's going to be a panel speaker, but he owns a bookstore in Canada called Forest Books and Media. So he does the same thing. He gets people to bring books into him, and then he does offer them store credit or cash, puts them out on, in his bookstore, and then he also sells a lot of those books on Amazon that are more valuable. So again, a great connection for you because he's been doing that for multiple years, and I think that'd be great for you to connect. And anyone else who wants to open a bookstore, why not go to a conference where you have bookstore owners? I think that's a good idea.
And it's increasing in popularity. I joined our regional booksellers association, and people are going to bookstores more. Like it kind of dropped off over the decades, I think, because of Amazon. People started ordering more online, but now people want to go and touch and see and feel things. And so many bookstores shut down that like we don't have one within 15 miles. We live in the Phoenix metro area, so we have access to that whole population, but there's no bookstore within 15 miles of us, so we don't have a lot of competition. So
I'm curious, Jen, I'd like to ask you a few questions about like the business side of things. Opening up a bookstore, right? Is this like what type of space is it? Is it is it zoned a certain like type of zoning in order to like have a bookstore? Is there a bunch of like permits and crazy things you have to do to like be able to set that up? I'm just very curious about like kind of how that worked.
Yeah, we actually signed our lease last November, and because of all the permitting and issues and everything, we only just now got our business license a few weeks ago. So
Wow.
But it kind of worked out because the landlord let us, while we were waiting and all that, he let us start setting up. So now I think we'll be able to get this open in a few weeks. But yeah, we are in a shopping plaza.
Oh, cool.
We have an art gallery next door. We have an antique store across the parking lot. There's a marijuana dispensary in the parking lot. There's a restaurant. So there's a lot of cool stuff around us. I don't know. I think we're in a good spot. I hope so. And we also get tourists here. So in Phoenix, October through February, March, the population increases by a ton. There's the snowbirds that come and live for the winter, and then all the tourists. We're right next to some very scenic mountains. So we're hoping that we get a lot of that traffic from the tourists too.
So you're going to be using the store to obviously sell books. How are you going to use it for storage as well for your Amazon business for FBA and whatnot?
We'll see, because I'm still home with the kids, so I kind of realized, well, that was the idea, but I still have to be home with my kids. So
Yeah.
I'll probably still, I mean, maybe you guys will convince me to do the prep center, and I won't need that much space, but
Yeah, I think with the bookstore and 6 kids, I think you 1,000% need a prep center now. But what are the ages? What's the age range of your kids? Like,
my youngest is about to turn 2, and the oldest is
wow.
14. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what's your oldest?
He's 14.
14.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know this interview is about you, but I also have two kids as well. And I'm like, it is much. I mean, obviously they're amazing, but it's a lot of work as well. I'm like, how do you manage to, like, I feel like in this day and age, Steve, right? Like, there's so many excuses that people always get, right? And then here's Jen, right? She's like homeschooling 6 children and doing eBay, Amazon flipping. It's just like, how do you balance it all, right? Because it is, I mean, taking care of kids is not easy. It's hard. It's obviously rewarding work, but it's difficult.
I can't even manage myself, and you have 6 kids.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of force you to get your act together, I guess, but I don't sleep that much. I mean, I probably don't sleep enough, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it. That's why enjoying what you're doing is important. And I just try to carve out little bits of time, and sometimes it's only 2 hours a day. So my kids are my priority, but they do sleep, and I don't need as much sleep as they do. So that's usually when I work on stuff. When they're
any interest from the older ones in helping you in the business?
Yeah, we're trying to get them to make, like, they have a 3D printer, so we're trying to get them to make maybe some little trinkets to sell. We're trying to, and maybe do, help us with the social media side, do video editing and stuff like that. So yeah, we want it to be a family thing, I think it'll be cool for my kids, like, to get to grow up in a bookstore. Like, that would have been a dream for me when I was a kid. So
I think you muted, Steve.
Rookie mistake after 10 years. How many, thanks, Joji. How many days and what hours are you going to be open at the bookstore? Do you have any thoughts? Are you going to experiment?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to be open more during the peak season when the population increases here. I'm trying to convince my husband just 5 days a week, but he's like, we need to be open every day. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully at least Sundays off, but I don't know. Yeah. I'll leave that up to him because he's going to be here most of the time.
Yeah.
I hope to be here some of the time, but he's going to be mostly running the store. So
when you see those businesses that are open like 3 days a week, you're like, wow, these guys must be killing it. They have the arrogance to, like, I don't need to be open most of the week. I'm just going to open 3 days. So
right.
Is it only a bookstore? Like, are you niching yourself into just a bookstore, or are you open to putting other things in the store outside of books? Like, do you have a name and everything, like Books and Beyond? We gave the Beyond to give ourselves a little wiggle room here.
We did it with the name. The name is Cult Fiction Bookshop. So we're trying to specialize in books that have a cult following. But we are going to sell other stuff. My husband's really creative. He's a graphic designer. He's already made some t-shirts. So we're going to he wants to make cool t-shirts that people want to buy. So we should be getting our first order in this week. that's the first thing. T-shirts, maybe some hats, and maybe some Lego sets that I can't sell on Amazon. I don't know. We'll see. I would love to sell Legos. Maybe I can get
I think
by
you could.
Lego in store. Maybe.
I bet you could sell used Legos
Jen,
by the pound or something. I
Yeah,
bet you could.
that.
And definitely talk again to Riley
get
Martin.
people selling you.
Yeah, exactly.
Get
Yes.
people selling sets to you.
Yeah.
I hadn't
Sorry,
thought
Jen.
of that. We could advertise that we buy Legos. That's
Yep.
true.
I mean, like I said, you could even buy used Legos, turn around and flip, like pay a certain, certain amount per pound or something, and turn around and flip it just in store. And again, a good person to talk to at the conference is Riley Martins, because his bookstore is Forest Books and Media, but he also does in the bookstore sells quite a bit of like video games, DVDs, other types of media. I'm not sure if he does Lego, but I think that'd be a good connection for the two of you. So
we do have some DVDs and CDs too, because doing the free book pickups, people just throw in the DVDs and CDs. So we will have a little bit of that to start off.
And what's interesting, you said you don't have any competitors for 15 miles.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow.
You might just, she might just shut down eBay, Amazon, and selling it.
Honestly,
this is the way to go.
If I found an opportunity like this, thing could take off for you. Like what I
Yeah.
really respect, you're trying something new. I respect it. I love it. You never know what a seed can grow into. This could be insane for you, or you can maybe you're down the road, you're like, I hate this, or maybe you love it.
We'll see. And that's my philosophy. That's my guiding principle. Let's do what we like. So if we like the bookstore and I don't need to do eBay, Amazon anymore, I won't. But that's kind of what got me here though. Yeah. So
who knows? Maybe you end up setting up like a camera and then you have a YouTube channel that documents like Craigslist Hunter. Like who knows? Like this thing could blow up into something you haven't even imagined.
Yeah, we'll see. It's exciting.
Be a little careful there, Steve. We don't want her to get too popular, or else we're gonna have to pay her like $10,000 to come back next year. Okay? Like
when I see her cancel the eTay Master Sheet and Replay Catcher, I know the bookstore is blowing up.
The bookstore. Yeah, I mean, such an exciting endeavor. Definitely tons and tons of work. Probably way more work than anyone imagines. But yeah, that's just an exciting journey to go down. So, again,
I have a question for you, Joji.
What was that?
I have a question for you.
Yeah, please.
With your BookMine software, could somebody use that? Say, like, because we've got a couple books off of Amazon that are real collectible, really expensive books that we're gonna have in our glass display case at our store. That we found them at a really low price, like unusually low. Could your software be used for something like that, where I just put a bunch of like rare titles in there, and if I could check it to see if somebody's got it up at an unusually low price?
Yeah, it's a good question. So basically the way our software works is that we're not necessarily pinpointing any particular book. We're just like saying anything that's undervalued or anything that looks seasonal, this is what we showed to you. That, I mean, definitely you could build a software like that. That's not necessarily what BookMine is about, but I think that there is a lot of opportunity, specifically since you're ready to do eBay to Amazon, and like becoming very educated on print runs and first editions of particular books, because oftentimes people will sell them on eBay way too cheaply, and that would not only is that an opportunity to sell it on Amazon for a higher price, but also in your store as well, which would be really cool. Like, so for me, what comes to mind is Stephen King. So I'm sure you're very aware of well-versed in Stephen King, but Stephen King has tons of books where he has like first edition listings on Amazon and then normal edition listings. And there's tons of like BASIN listings where like you can buy it on one listing on Amazon and sell it on the other one. And there's also crazy stuff. So I guess all I'm saying is BookMine doesn't do that, but if you want to manually search for it, you could.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But do you have any plans of selling like first editions or like first printings and like keeping those in stock in your store on a replun basis?
Yeah, I mean, you mean like buying them new?
No, I mean like, for example, there are certain, like, let's just take a Stephen King book, like Eyes
Mhm.
of the Dragon, for example. So Eyes of the Dragon, you can sell like a first edition. It's not that hard to find a first edition for and sell it on Amazon for like 50, $55 right now. But then you could
Mhm.
also buy it on just a generic listing of the same book where, has the same ISBN, but it may or may not be a first edition, right? Because people don't look at that. They're just,
Right.
typing the ISBN because they're listing on Amazon and selling it, not knowing whether or not it is or isn't a first edition, but it
Mhm.
very could well be a first edition or something. So I guess what I'm saying is I think there's an opportunity for you to do a lot of sourcing on eBay to sell in your bookstore because you're like, hey, this is actually a first edition. I bought it on eBay or Amazon for $12 from this person who doesn't know what it is, and then I turn around and flip in my bookstore for like $49.99 because it is actually a first
Yeah.
edition, and that's what its real value is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, we are doing a little bit of that. Now haven't put a lot of time into it, but we we do want to have cool stuff like that. And first, we do have some first editions, and I've been learning how to identify them, and because it can be tricky
Yeah,
with that kind of thing. And yeah, that's why you can find them on eBay because people don't know, like
people
you
don't
said,
know.
what they have. So
And
yeah, we are.
you can find them on Amazon all the time as well because again, there's listings for, like, again, just Stephen King as an example, bunch of Stephen King books where it's just the ISBN, right? It's the same cover art,
Mhm.
but obviously some percentage of those books are first editions. And most, like, if you read the description note, very rarely does anyone say this is a first printing or, a first edition,
Yeah.
first printing or whatever. There are some people, by the way, and this is interesting as well, Steve, is there are some merchant fulfilled sellers that sell on Amazon that know what they're doing. And like,
Mhm.
there's like one guy I would love to get him the books and beyond. His name's like, I think Pat's Rare Books or something like that. But he'll essentially he's all collectible offers and they're all like first edition, first printing with like, so he knows what he's doing. Right. And so it's like,
Neat.
yeah, there's
Oh
tons of
wow,
opportunity.
I haven't seen that on Amazon. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, a big tangent there. But again, if you're someone join us later, we're here with Jen Fritz. She's a speaker at Books and Beyond. And Steve,
Mhm.
not to put you on the spot, but when is Books and Beyond happening this year?
So it is going down October 10th to the 12th in Las Vegas in the Fremont area. So if you guys have never been to Fremont Street, the Fremont experience in Las Vegas, I mean, it is incredible. We're all staying over at the Golden Nugget in the Carson Tower. So it's great. They have a pool there, an aquarium with actual sharks in there as well, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, our venue is right across the street. We've got tons of speakers. It's great. It's just great networking. You never know who you're going to meet and what you're going to learn. And I can tell you right now, the conversations that Jen is going to have with your buddy who has the bookstore, it's conversations like that where you're going to gain 5 years of knowledge from somebody within an hour or so. So, I mean, yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. So I wish it was
Yep.
tomorrow.
Very well. So October 10th through 12th, Las Vegas, Nevada. You can get your tickets. We're really close. I mean, we're less than 2 months away, which is kind of crazy at this point in time. Obviously, if you want to check out the speaker lineup, feel free to do that just by clicking on speakers, and you can see, we've got both men and women killing it in both books, a variety of different types of ways, and eBay to Amazon. Even our eBay to Amazon person, Jen, is also just has a bookstore, which is kind of just awesome. And Jen, this is who I was talking about. This is Riley. So you'll
Okay.
get to meet Riley, and he's the owner of Forest Books and Media. You get to
Wow.
meet his wife as well. His wife has come, and they also have, I believe, 2 kids, maybe 3 kids, but also they're running the bookstore and selling on Amazon. So
Oh, can't
a lot of
wait.
fun. Tickets are linked in the description, so I'll go and link that one more time if anyone wants to check it out. But yeah, overall I've been having a good time. Any questions you have for Jen, Steve, before we wrap it up here?
Is your husband coming too? You were saying?
No, 'cause we're hoping the store is open by then.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
he's got to be here to run the store.
So
Yeah,
we're getting the bus in. We're getting all 6 kids. They're all going to help out, and then even the 2-year-olds going to help out. I'm sure.
No, I'm looking forward to a little mini vacation.
Yes.
So
Yeah, and that's awesome. So, anyways, Jen, I just want again, I'm so grateful that you're going to be a speaker there. So thankful that you're on our YouTube channels live. Again, I think there's a tremendous amount of value you have to give to anyone who wants to do eBay and Amazon flipping, or even open up a bookstore. So, again, just thank you so much for being here.
thanks
Jen.
for having me, guys. It's been really fun.
All right. Well, everyone, grab your tickets. I hope the next time I see anyone else out there is at Books and Beyond in Las Vegas. So, see you guys there. And
Thanks,
we'll head on out.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.